Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. This is going to be the Carnival exclusive TEQ SSJ GOKU versus the Cell Max event. This is taken from a video that's going to come out shortly of me finally beating the Cell Max event. I just kind of thought of what's the point of me doing a whole nother run to kind of do the exact same thing. Because this Goku was on main rotation the entire time, or to be fair he actually missed 2 turns, and even without them, means he got to stack up less, he got to build up his passive a lot slower because he was starting as a floater, and he still came in and he still done bits. So I thought, what's the point of me recording a whole new video? But as I said, this is taken from Twitch. If you want to see me stream, link in the description down below. Also, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you're new. But yeah, this guy, man, this Carnival exclusive, banner format aside, all that type of stuff, he is amazing. He is easily top 3 unit in the game. Whoever's top 1 out of him, Cooler, and the Vegeta and Trunks currently on JP, I'm not entirely sure, but it's probably debatable, but he's in the conversation. He is in top 3. It just depends on your preference where these units get put. And he has a lot of diverse tools at your disposal to make him good in an event like this. Yes, the Soul Max event isn't the longest, but stacking any extra defense you can is obviously very good and very useful for the final phase, especially if you can kind of go at a steady pace in the first 2 phases, even though they are pretty much a walk. But he stacks defense. He has the revive, which is very handy when it comes to harder content nowadays, like Red Zone and Soul Max event, where you only have 1 item. Even in an event like this, where you only have 1 Sensu Beam, which isn't even a great item. Yes, you can heal, but, you know, within like a turn of being in the final phase against Cell Max, you lose most of the health you recover, you know, unless a lot of RNG goes your way. But, you know, the revive is very handy, just keeping your health up. Not to mention, after he revives, post-revival, he has guaranteed guard with no HP conditional restriction. But he has guard in general, but, you know, pre-revival, you have to be at 60% HP or above, which, considering the first 2 phases, as I said, are an absolute walk. You're never really going to drop below that unless Pycon doesn't dodge, or, you know, who's another unit that could potentially take some damage. Maybe Hercule on the initial attack he could take, especially if it's a super and he doesn't dodge that before he gets his damage reduction. Other than that, you're probably hardly going to lose any health where you're going to end up dropping below 60% HP or below where you lose Goku's guard. So at least that way, you can constantly get the extra defense plus 59% early on, which, as I said, you don't really need again because it's just a walk. But also you can kind of stack without worrying, build up your his defense as much as you can by the time you get here where you're going to need it. You have his active skill, so you can do some extra damage, which of course you want to do once his passive's fully built up, where he gets the attack plus 59%, which is built up by 10% over 6 turns, because it's 10% each time you attack. So yeah, so we can do some extra damage, and also he has the nullification, and we all know, or the disable, and we all know how useful that is. Even though it may not get rid of the super attack, which it possibly can be, even though it always gets rid of the first attack in the turn. So if you get an attack, super attack straight away, you've avoided some massive damage from Cell Max, which means you're most likely to survive, and you'd have to be hit by like a 600k plus to a million super from him. So that is very handy. Even if he doesn't super in the first slot, getting rid of an extra attack from him always makes you feel a little bit safer, even though Goku will be in slot 1 the majority of the time. Also, we had him linked up with the gods, and eventually, of course, transforming him into the blues, which he links really well with. He's a great addition to the 200% lead of theirs, another unit that can go in slot 1 when you're facing, you know, a movie boss or pure Saiyan enemy, because that way you can have 1 rotation with TEQ SSJ GOKU in slot 1, gods in slot 2, stacking up, you know, kind of freely, not really have to worry about them too much. Or in terms of this event, you know, just basically them not being hit before they super, and, you know, hopefully you can get those additionals off and stack them up even more. And here's him taking a super, by the way, which he tanks obviously for nothing, but then we get the revive off, which is exactly what we want. At least we got some stacks off before the revive came off, so this turn came off really well. But you can have 1 rotation of easy attack god Goku against a pure Saiyan or movie boss enemy with the gods, and then you can have a second rotation of TEQ SSJ GOKU and the gods as well. So yeah, he has a lot of great linking partners. There's also the Strength Goku and Gohan exchange unit. There's also EZA Year 3 LR Gogeta. There is also LR AGL Gohan, who wouldn't be viable here, but maybe like a longer Red Zone event like Shadow Dragons. Frieza, if you wanted to risk it, but that type of Voyage is dangerous, but he is still a perfect linking partner for him. But he links well with a lot of good units, including the LRSSJ4s. He actually shares a lot of the decent attack links the SSJ4s have. And you know, by the time he fully builds up his passive by receiving hits and gets that extra attack plus 59%, of course he's getting key plus 1 each time, which of course eventually then goes to 10, which means by the time you get that full key plus 10 at the start of turn, you're never going to have to worry about getting an 18 key off with the TEQ SSJ GOKU, because he will literally be like 2 extra key in front of the 18 key he needs to constantly stack. So that's also another major plus, because in an event where you need the extra defense all you can get, you're going to be completely fine, because you're always going to get the 18 key off, which means you're always going to stack, which means he's always going to get bulkier and bulkier, on top of the fact he's always going to be guarding. So in terms of how much he can tank, you're probably going to see that in a moment, I'm pretty sure. But it means you're always going to be able to make him bulkier and bulkier, and you can give and supply other units that need the orbs, and potentially maybe like hit an 18 key or something. They can be prioritized with the key spheres over the Goku. So that's also another major benefit. In terms of anything else, I'm pretty sure that's everything. You know, we've talked about his disable the action, which in an event like this, avoiding any extra damage, whether it's a super or a basic, always handy. On top of the fact you're going to be running him surrounded by the SSJ4s and the gods as well, who have that on their 18 key, and you can prioritize giving them key as well. They can also disable enemy actions in a turn off their 18 key as well. Yes, you only do it with Goku once, but that's 3 attacks you can get rid of in a turn, and of course continuing doing that with the year 7s. But yeah, stacking him up and having guaranteed 18 key a lot of the time, along with having guaranteed guard post revival, it does make him a very, very, very valuable unit in an event like this. Not to mention, this was the first attempt I did using the new Carnival exclusive TEQ LRSSJ GOKU after pulling him in the Cell Max event, and I ended up beating it. I've attempted this event so many times with the different units people said you should do it with. For example, Hercule, who's here, which by the way, Mr. Satan, he's very good at this. He's very good. The amount he dodges and the damage reduction after like the initial attack is fantastic. But then you have likes of LRSSBE, who you bring in purely for the revival. At least Goku's a good unit and a good defensive unit, while also having a revival skill in there as well. And then also Pycon, who we did bring. And I got close so many times. Like, literally, like a pixel of health left was the closest I got. And then Pycon got me killed because he didn't dodge. The first time I use him, I end up beating it. So, I mean, if that doesn't kind of show you how good he is, or even the run you're currently seeing now, which is pretty much majority of his highlights, I don't know what will. I really don't know what will. As I said, the first time I use him, I end up beating the event. And as I said, I've attempted this event so many times with the exact same strats people have been using. But you just need to get so lucky with them that, unfortunately, all my luck seems to end up going in summoning. Actually, that's not really unfortunately, but unfortunately I didn't end up actually beating it. But all my luck ends up going in summoning. So can I really blame Dokkan for not giving me the luck in terms of difficult runs? But yeah, as I said, he has so many diverse tools at his disposal. Like, if we summarize it, as I said, stacking, guard as long as you have, you know, 60% HP or more. Pre-revival, the revival itself, which helps you heal in an event where you only have one item and not many outlets to heal, depending on, you know, the support memory or the item you're using. In this case, you have the Sensu Bean, so you can heal, but as I said, all that damage ends up, you know, taking away all the health you've recovered anyway. On top of the revival, as I said, you then get the guaranteed guard no HP condition, which is great while he's stacking the entire time. After you build him up in his passive after taking a few hits, which in an event like this where the first 2 phases literally do no damage to him, you can safely build him up to get the extra attack plus 59%, and more importantly, that key plus 5 on top of the key plus 5 he already has. So he has key plus 10, which means he's always got an 18 key, which means he's always stacking, and you can prioritize other units taking the orbs over him. And then you of course have the active skill to do a bit of extra damage against Cell Max, and then of course the disable enemy action, so you can kind of get rid of one extra attack. You know, maybe one time like I had to do earlier on, you move Goku into slot 2, or maybe he gets locked there. That's one attack in slot 1 on a unit that may not be able to survive, and you can kind of, you know, get lucky enough to kind of survive that rotation because of that disable enemy action. On top of the year 7s disabling enemy actions as well on their 18 key. And if you're lucky enough, you could potentially disable the super attack, which is even better considering how much damage Cell Max can do. But a lot of the time, and I think this was the last rotation that happened, He literally tanked Cell Max, I think, for like 60, 70k, then tanked him for literally double digits. Goku is one of the few units that can tank Cell Max for literally, what, even 100k, which hardly any units in the game can do, especially on Global without Vegeta and Trunks as well being here yet. And then also probably be able to tank a Super if you've stacked him up enough. Unfortunately, I didn't get Super attacked with him apart from when we got the revive off. I'm not sure about the Super too much, but he's one of the few units that can tank Cell Max's basics for literally next to nothing. And also, yeah, I mean, watching him tank double digits, even tanking like 70 to 100k is a lot better than everyone else, but then watching him tank double digits is generally insane. He's easily top 3 unit in the game, but do let me know what you think down in the comments. I will upload the actual full run not too long after this video. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video, guys, and push.